Surreal database is a Rust-powered multi-model database, and is beginning to gain loads of traction in the world of database today. Basically because the team behind this database are actually building insane features. They are pushing beyond the bounds of what is called possible in the worlds of database today. I'm not going to talk about the intro to Surreal database. I already made a video that's about last year, speaking extensively about what Surreal database is and diving deep into its fundamentals. What I seek to do today is to actually show you how to get SurrealDB Server installed within your computer, how to use SurrealDB management interface called Surrealist, a minimalistic, functional, and sleek user interface to actually query your data within your database server. You could use this on the web and you could actually install it within your local machine. And lastly, we're going to be building a CRUD application. We're going to be building this with .NET and we're going to be using Surreal database. So you're going to see how to actually integrate Surreal database with .NET. And you could actually do this with any programming language. As of today, I think majority of programming languages are supported, but you could check if yours is supported. But I think the majority of the widely used programming language are already supported today. Let's dive right in, guys. All right, homies, let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is to get SurrealDB server on our PC. That's the database server on our local machine. So the way we go about that is by going to the website. You go to the website, which is SurrealDB.com. So SurrealDB.com. I'm just going to load it real quick so you can get to see that. So this is the website. So you click on Get Started with Surreal Database, and you see some yada stuff. Because you do not have the database server, you need to install the database server first. So you can either go to this installation or you just go from getting started. But I'll just do this. I'm on Windows, so I'm gonna go for Windows installation. You can do for the rest. It is pretty simple. So click on Windows. You could actually copy any of this command. For myself, I already have Surreal database installed, so I'm not going to be installing it, but this is the command you need to copy. If you're installing for the first time, you can copy this. But if you already have Surreal database and you want to perform more like an update, you could use the command as well. It's just going to update your stuff. So I would pull out my terminal real quick. I'll just do a copy. I'll do a copy on the command and I'm just going to paste it here. I already have the database server installed, but it's just going to update because I already have it installed. So you should get to see something like this. Now the reason why it's giving me this error is because the server is currently running. That's why I'm getting this error. Let me pull that out for you real quick so you can see that. So you can see that I'm currently using the server at the moment. That's why it's getting this error. So I'm just going to shut this down and I'm going to do it again. Let's do it again. So yeah, so basically what this is going to do is, as I've said, just to do an update on my database. So now my database server has been installed, and to get started, to be sure that you already have it installed, you can just do Surreal, yeah. So once you have this, you know that the database server has actually been installed. And to get started, you can just copy this. Actually, you can copy this. So I can just copy this. So you could actually get started with an in-memory database. You can have a database that actually saves your data within your disk, and you can spin up your Surreal database using Docker. But because of the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to use in-memory because that's pretty fast and lightweight. So I'm just going to do Surreal start log debug user root password root and memory. So I'm just going to get started, and voila, our database is started. This is how simple it is to get started with the database installation. So let me walk you through the user interface. All right, the user interface is the database management studio, how you actually get to interact. You could actually use CLI as well, but I mean, who doesn't like user interface? So all you need to do to use the user interface is to go to your browser. Go to your browser and just type and just do localhost 8000. You go to the port that your server is currently running on. You can see that my server is running on 8000. So I'll go to the port that my server is currently running on, which is 8000. It is automatically going to refer me to Surrealist. And as I said, Surrealist is SurrealDB management interface. That's the management studio, if you will. So you could actually click to download within your PC, or you open in browser. I'm just going to open in browser. I don't need to download it in my PC. All right, so you have this. So you do not have any connection yet. So the first thing you want to do is to create a connection. And the connection we're going to be creating is with our local machine. So we can create a new one. So I'm just going to say create a new connection. And you can connect via HTTP, HTTPS, WebSockets, secured WebSockets, in memory, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to be connecting via HTTP. So address and port. So I'm just going to do localhost port 8000. I'm going to do root. My username is root and my password is root. By default, you would have namespace and database created for you. You could actually create yours, but we're just going to be using the default one, and the default one is example. So I'm going to create this. So you have your new connection also created for you. All right, so you have your new connection. So you could go to query, you can go to Explorer. You do not have any table within the database. All right, so what we're going to do now is to create a table. So let's just try to create a mini table, and we're going to call this table user table. All right, we're going to create this table, and we're going to create a record. Creating a record is very much easy. All right, it's just more like your JSON format. So I'm just going to say first name, and that's it. Let's create the record. So automatically, what that property does for you is it automatically forms your field. All right, hence the flexibility that SurrealDB actually gives you. So we already have our field: age, first name, last name, gender is confirmed. So the next thing we're going to do is let's just try to do a query. Do a query on the management studio and just see what it looks like. All right, so we're going to write our SQL query that we all know and love. Let's do this. Execute the query. We have the results. See how fast it is. All right, so it's just like your everyday stuff. All right, so now that we have this, and there are actually loads of features on this management studio, I'm going to make another video just walking through this management studio interface. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be creating an API application. Real quick, we're not really concerned about structure and the likes. We just want to get this application built and see what it looks like to consume, to use SurrealDB with .NET application. All right, so we're just going to say all right, so we have our application created. First, create our models real quick. So oops, spelled that wrongly. What else? Okay, so we already know that we have a user entity created within SurrealDB already. So you can just have that replicated. Yeah. Right. Okay, we need to install SurrealDB now. So all you just need to search for is Surreal. So this is what you're looking for, SurrealDB.net. That's what you're looking for. So let's have this installed. So what I've basically done is to create a user record, and record is basically an abstract class that is inherited from SurrealDB, Surreal database. All right, so I've created this, which is basically the properties that we have created on the dashboard, on SurrealDB's dashboard. So the next thing we want to do, having added our configuration to app settings, the next thing we want to do is to actually configure Surreal database. And configuration for Surreal database is really easy. It's very easy. All you need to do is to say builder, riding on our existing builder. What you basically want to do is to make this a constant. All right, but just bear in mind that we are not putting clean code or whatever that is in consideration. We just want to get this done. All right, so let's do this. Surreal is going to add this with the lifetime of a singleton, the singleton lifetime by default. That's what you have here, and you might want to have this as a scoped. I'd like to have it as a scoped, so you can set that up. You can determine that. All right. So I have this controller already. What I basically did was to rename the weather forecast controller and just clean it up. So I have this is no big deal. All right. So the next thing we want to do, because that is going to add Surreal database to our dependency injection container, our DI container, so we can easily say SurrealDB Client. You can have access to that database client, so you can just say DB client. You can invoke that. I'm going to have this created for me. All right, so that's that's basically all you need. With this, you can begin to access Surreal's your database server using SurrealDB. All right, so the first thing we're going to be working on is our get. So we're going to be working on getting all of our users. We also need to specify the name of the table, so we'll just say const. So for next, we are going to be getting a specific ID. So this is going to be so with this, what we're basically doing is we're passing the table and we're passing the ID as a tuple. All right. By that, SurrealDB is going to automatically know that we actually are specifying that we want a particular user with this ID, and it's going to be returning a single user to us. Notice that this was returning enumerable of users, but with this specification, this is going to be returning just a single user. All right. Okay, so let's quickly work on create. Let's just paste using the same signature posts. For this, we might need to create a DTO. So let's have a DTO within our user. So what's this going to return? This is going to return, so this is going to return the user that was created, I believe. All right, so that's going to create our user. Let us also have an update user. So the first thing we are trying to do is to get the existing user from the database. If the existing user in the database exists, once we're able to confirm that, the next thing we're going to do is to assign the new values to the existing user. So we say existing user dot first name so we're going to be using the upsats. So what this upsats basically does is update and insert. You can determine if that's what you want, but for me, I'm totally fine with that. All right, so we can have updated user and we can return updated user. All right, so that's that for updates, and the final one is delete. So we're also going to be having an API for deleting users. So it's a public sync So the first thing we want to do is to actually even check if the user exists. All right, guys, so we have all of our CRUD APIs set up already. We have our deletes, we have puts, we have updates, we have get all, and get a particular one. So let's run and test our APIs. All right, so we see that it's able to get all of our data. The next one we're going to do is try to get this particular one, because you'll notice that this is actually returning an array of results, which is all of the data. So let's try to get this specific record. I'm going to do that with this particular get. This is expecting an ID. So we enter the ID and we execute. And notice that now we are getting the specific object. All right, we're getting that specific object. All right, so let's try to create a user. Why not? Let's try to create a user. So I'm going to be creating. All right, so we have our second user created. So if we go to get all, we can actually find that user here. All right, so we have that created. Okay, so let's try to update this particular user. So let's copy out the ID of this particular user and try to perform an update on that particular user. So enter the ID. All right, so the user was updated. Let's confirm by doing the get all and try to see the user. So notice that the user has been updated. So lastly, let's perform our delete operation on that particular user as well. So delete, try it out, enter the ID, execute, and notice that we have the user deleted. So if we execute our get all method, let's see if the user has been deleted. Voila. So the user has been deleted successfully. And if you actually, let's try to add the user again, actually. Let's just try to create that particular user again. Okay, we have the user created. So if you go to your studio and you try to run this particular query, you'll notice that the user has also been created here. All right, guys, there you have it. I want you all to try it out in your various language of choice and let me know what you think about it. I think the guys are absolutely killing it. They're crushing it. And I'm so excited to see what is going to be coming up in the next month to come. I think these guys are absolutely crushing it. And I want you all to also try it out in your various language of choice and let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Do well to like the video and also share the video. If you're coming in for the first time, we do all things software engineering, so make sure to subscribe so you can get notified when the next video is uploaded. I'll see y'all on the next one.